Okay, well, I'm looking today at a recent project I had. This was a purchase from eBay, and it's a Fidelity RAD20. Now, Fidelity RAD20s almost never seem to come up. They're extremely rare. And I had one when I was a teenager, so I wanted to get another one like it. And I've actually been keeping my eye open for one for actually several years. And this one finally came up. And it's it's a pretty dirty sort of state. It's very grubby. Um, but yeah, well, that's probably just a matter of cleaning. Yes, it's very much ingrained dirt. The worst problem I had was this area here, which I'm indicating with the mouse pointer now, um, which happens to be a hole. I was hoping it was just a sticker stuck on the front to mark a channel or something, but it's actually a hole through this acrylic sort of dial plate. So anyway, I'll come back to that later, but that was the one big issue. And again, there's the back of it. Again, it's grubby. I couldn't see from the pictures originally whether the battery connectors are there, but they are. And there's the number. And that's just a brief view of the underside of it. So anyway, that's how it looked. And since then, I've cleaned it up and I've had it apart and I've lined it up and replaced the capacitors. But it did actually still work as it was, but not very well. But it now looks like this. And I've touched up that hole with some acrylic paint. Now, it doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't draw your eye to it like it did when it was actually just a hole. And it's working pretty well, but the computer will interfere with it.
Breaking the record for Andy. Most runs batting at number 11 in Test cricket. Actually, what side is Mackay Burleson in 623? Now 625. Jimmy Anderson just a few runs behind.
So it's a very basic set, and it's very plasticky and cheap. And my theory as to why they don't come up is twofold. One is that they're plasticky and cheap, so they get thrown away. The other one is that they've got the same board in as a much nicer RAD12. And I'm sure people do come across these and take the board out to act as a donor radio for parts or for the whole board to repair a RAD12. And I did even consider buying a RAD12, but I thought, no, I want the one I originally had. And so finally this one did come up. Now, I had an interesting problem with it. I got it working and lined it up, and it was working really well on long wave. Absolutely no problems. Switched to medium wave, and it was very deaf on medium wave. It would only pick up one very strong station. And I fiddled about for ages, testing coils and what have you. And the answer was actually staring me in the face. At some stage, the radio must have been dropped or something, and the ferrite rod had slid through the coils. So the medium wave coil was half off the end of the ferrite rod. And it was right in front of my face, and I just didn't notice it. It's really crazy. So I just slid the ferrite rod in further, and yeah, there come up the medium wave. Perfectly good. So it does get both now. The other problem I had was this wave change switch, which turned out to be very grubby. Over the usual isopropyl alcohol squirted into it didn't actually fix it. And when I took it apart, I had to take the tuning pulley off, which meant, of course, disturbing the dial cord, so I could unsolder it and take it out and dismantle it and clean it all up inside. And then put it all back together. Then that finally sorted that problem. There was no problem at all with the off volume. Strangely enough, I didn't even have to clean that. It works perfectly well as it is. I just added a battery clip to run it off a PP3 battery instead of a PP9. It doesn't draw much current. It's only standard sort of 9 volt, and it's not being driven hard. Another theory why I don't think these come up is that they do have a AC127, AC128 output pair of power transistors, transistors of the power output stage, which are getting hard to get. So people will pay a few quid for this just to get the transistors, I reckon now, which is a shame. But as I say, I managed to finally get one after all these years. So there it is, a RAD20, and I just don't see them anymore. I've come across two pictures, one of a blue one and one of a red one, on the Radio Museum website. And apart from those two, this one and the one I originally had, they're the only four I've ever seen of these. And perhaps you know differently, perhaps they are a lot around, but I just don't see them. They don't seem to come up on eBay. So I just thought they'd be an interesting one to share. And thanks for watching, and bye for now.